Welcome, race fans, to another episode of Photo Finish. I'm your host, Steve-O. I know it's been a while since I've joined you, but we are back. We're going to preview the 150th running of the Kentucky Derby. We're also going to talk about the Kentucky Oaks on Friday, as well as some of the undercard races for Friday and Saturday. It should be a good weekend of racing and hopefully lots of money to be made. As always, we are sponsored by Spinnable Sports. Go to spinnablesports.com for all your news and notes. Go like and subscribe to the podcast wherever you get your podcast. Apple, Stitcher, Spotify, where you get your podcast will be out on that channel. You can also watch the video on YouTube, and I do encourage you to go to YouTube because I will be showing you the racing form and we'll be breaking it down as we go. So if you have not joined us before, welcome. We did take a little bit of time off, but we're back. Lots of things going on, new job, had a baby. So we took a year off, but we are back with this Kentucky Derby preview. Hopefully we will have a podcast for all of the major races, the Preakness, the Belmont, and we may have a special bonus episode for the Breeders' Cup. It's supposed to be in Las Vegas this year during the Breeders' Cup, and we'll try and get a couple of guests to come on and break down some races and maybe have some live footage from Sportsbook and with some live bets. So keep an eye out to our YouTube channel and our podcast channels, and we will keep you updated on any future podcasts. Let's not waste any time. Let's get right into Friday's card. We're going to pick up with race 9 at Churchill Downs on Friday. The weather in Louisville, Kentucky this weekend should be pretty good. A little bit overcast and cloudy, but we are expecting the tracks to remain dry and should be good for racing. Let's pick up with the race 9, the Grade 2 Ali Sheba. It's going to be ran on the dirt track at 1 mile and 16th. This is for 4-year-olds and up. As you can see here, I've already made some notes on the past performance. I like using Timeform. Just think it's real clean, easy to read, and I'll hit a couple of horses here as we go through. Tell you who I like to win and maybe throw together some exactas, trifectas. One horse here, Navajo Warrior, is a Sappy Joseph horse. Won his last time out. However, he is jumping up quite a bit in class here, and so I'm not sure that he's one that I will be using, but I didn't immediately throw him out. 2, Baeza is a name that you're probably familiar with. He finished 3rd in the Kentucky Derby last year, finished 3rd in the Belmont Stakes. It's just a really good horse. He's first off the claim, not first off the claim, but we got a new trainer here. Bill Mott has taken over for John Sheriff's. Junior Alvarado gets the ride here. Hasn't been in the best form, but is coming off of a pretty good layoff here. Hasn't raced since November. Bays is one I'd keep an eye on, see what his odds are. I don't like him going off at 5-2. But if he drifts a little bit, it's one I could consider using underneath. Let's talk about the 3 horse. This is one of my favorite bets of the whole weekend as of right now. The 3 horse Grande is a Todd Pletcher, John Velasquez are your connections. Mike Rapoli horse. I really like what Mike Rapoli is doing for horse racing. He's trying to really look out for everyday horse players like you and me and trying to find ways to make the sport better and improve the sport. But Grande here, 8-1 on the morning line. He has 4 wins and 5 starts, and his other race was a second in the Wood Memorial last year. So you can see after the Wood Memorial, he was on the Derby track last year, but after the Wood, he was scratched for being unsound. He should have been in the Kentucky Derby last year, but he's back. He's ran a couple races at Gulfstream to get ready for this. 8-1 on the morning line. Horse looks healthy. His speed numbers are good. I'm going to be playing a win bet on the 3 for sure. Let's look at a couple of other horses here. Tappan Street won the Florida Derby last year. Did not run in the Kentucky Derby. Came back late in December at Gulfstream, won a race, and then I was in the Grade 1 Pegasus at Gulfstream earlier this year. And he didn't have a great finish, finished 12th in that race, but Brad Cox, Flavion Pratt, one of the best jockeys and trainers in the country right now. I don't think I would throw out the 4 at this point, but I think I need to see a little bit more before I put some money on him. Don't see anything with the 5. 6 is interesting here. 9 starts, 3 wins, including his last race at Oaklawn back in March. 127 speed figure for the Timeform is a good number. I like the 6. I think I'm going to probably be playing some of the 6 in exotics with the 3, and a 3-6 exacta, a 3-6, and another horse for trifecta could really pay pay really well. But let's look at the 7 Skippy Longstocking, 37 races, 7-year-old horse, and he is still just kicking. 7-2 on the morning line. Saffy Joseph, Tyler Gaffalione is for your connections. He's gotten better his last 3 races at Gulfstream Park and then Oaklawn. He won the Pegasus, which is a big race in January at Gulfstream. Came back and won Grade 3 Essex Hand at Oaklawn. I would definitely not skip the 7. I'm probably going to have the 7 underneath in my exotics. The 8 Corporate Power, also interesting. 127 speed figure last time out at the Grade 2 New Orleans Fairgrounds. Jose Ortiz gets the mount. Steve Asmussen is your trainer there. Another micro poly horse down here is the 9, a Disruptor. He's won his last 2 races, including Grade 3 Challenger at Tampa a couple of months ago. Irad Ortiz, Todd Pletcher, your combination there, 2 of the very best. I just don't know. I think there's a couple of other horses I just like a little bit better. I like the other Rapoli horse better, the 3 Grande. I just think his races have been a little bit better, although albeit not against the level of competition coming out off that injury. But I think Grande had a potential to win the Kentucky Derby last year. I think he comes back the day before the Derby this year and gets a win at hopefully a good price for those connections. Let's go on to the 12th race on Friday. This is the Grade 2 Edgewood. It's going to be run on turf at a mile and 16th. This is for 3-year-old fillies. Let me find the race here, and then I will show you what I'm thinking for race 12. Post time for this race is 7:40 p.m. A little bit later start time on Friday, so you got plenty of time to get off work and still catch quite a few good races. Let's look at race 12. As I said, this is the Edgewood. It's going to be run on turf. First horse to look at is number 1, Storm's Wake. Brian Lynch, Joe El Rosario. I like Lynch as a good turf trainer. This is a horse that I would look at. Won his last time out, winning the Appalachian Keeneland 27 days ago. Pretty good number there. I've already tossed the 2. 3 is interesting. Brendan Walsh, Tyler G. finished second to Storm's Wake by just a neck at Keeneland in that Appalachian we just talked about. She also ran at the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Filly turf race back at Del Mar last year, where she finished 4th, so she's lightly raced, getting better every time. That's something I like to look at. I would definitely not toss the 3. I think you got to consider using the 3 here. But this is a wide open race, in my opinion. The 4, Laura Lee, Mike Maker, has only ran on synthetic. Just don't think she's got the pedigree or the distance here on turf. So I'm not going to be using any of the 4. The 5, Just Aloof, Chad Brown, Flavion Pratt. She was also in that race at Keeneland a few weeks ago, finished 4th to 3 other horses in this race. But I do like her numbers. They are improving, very lightly raced. 5 is one that I think you got to consider as well. 6, Tam Tam. I don't know that she's got the speed to compete with the other horses in this race. She is getting better, did win her last 2 starts, but it's quite a jump in class for her. I don't think I'll be using any of the 6. 7, Lovely Gray. This is an interesting horse. This horse is owned by Dave Portnoy with Barstool Sports. She has run her last 3 races on synthetic, but her speed numbers have improved every time. Only has 1 win in 7 starts. Dylan Davis is on board. This is a horse that I'm gonna give a consideration to. I won't certainly toss her right off the bat. If she takes another step like she has been doing, she could certainly hit the board. Let's look at the 8, Lion Lake, Brendan Walsh, Johnny V. She's won 2 of her last 3 races, and her numbers are getting better every time as well. She was in that Appalachian where she finished 3rd in that race. The 9, Dandana, Saffy Joseph, Jose Ortiz, won her last race. Very lightly raced here. 2 over 3 starts have been wins. I just don't know. She would have to take a really big step up here to compete. with some of the other horses in this race. Number 10, Bohemian, don't see anything there. The 11, Time to Dream. Pletcher, Irad Ortiz, another Mike Rapoli horse. Anytime you have those connections, you got to consider the 11. You got to consider that horse. I'm just not sure she's got the speed. She'd have to take a really big jump here to match the speed figures for some of the other horses in this race. At 5-1, or more than likely, she'll probably take some money. I probably will be fading the 11. 12, I've already tossed. The 13 is interesting to me. She is 2 for 2, although she is going up quite a bit in class here, making the big jump for Brendan Walsh. 15-1 on the morning line, though. The 13 is interesting. I could see myself using some of the 13 underneath in this race. 14, Two Aflame. Don't see a whole lot here. She finished 7th in that same race where a lot of other horses were. I just like a bunch of other horses more than that one. I think I'm probably going to I will probably have a win place show on the 7 here, Lovely Gray. I think she could take another leap. If she's around 15-1 or better, I'll be playing some of the 7. Otherwise, I'm probably looking at the 1, Storm's Wake, who won that race Keeneland a few weeks back. I looked pretty good doing it. The 1 and the 3 are probably the horses that I'm giving a hard look at to pair with the 7. So that is race 12 on Friday afternoon. Now let's go let's look at the last race we were talking about on Friday for the Kentucky Oaks. That race is going to go off at 8:40 p.m. So late start under the lights. Should be a very good, really open race, in my opinion. Let's take a look at that past performance. So we've got the number 1, Explorer, Bob Baffert, Flavion Pratt. She won the last race out at Oaklawn Park. She won the Honeybee to get into this race. Pretty solid speed numbers there, pretty consistent over her last few races. Did run in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Filly race last year, so has faced some pretty good competition. Don't hate the 1 at all. The 2 is more than likely going to be your favorite here. Zany, another Rapoli Todd Pletcher Irad Ortiz horse. She is 3 for 4 in her starts. Did get beat last time out in the Ashland 28 days ago at Keeneland by Percy Barr, who's also in this race. I've heard a lot of talk about Zany. A lot of people think that she's going to run away with it here. I'm just not sold on her. I think she could certainly be amongst the horses in contention. But when you look at the Timeform pace predictor here, you're going to see that this sets up kind of for a fast pace. And Zany is not really a closer. She's kind of sitting in the middle of the pack, off the pace. And does she have enough to close? I'm just not sure she does in this race. There's a lot of horses I like just a little bit better. 3 Search Party, 30-1 in the morning line caught my eye. This is probably one of the longer shots that I'm going to use underneath. Mark Cassie is your trainer. Christian Torres is your jockey. She ran in the Honeybee as well as the Grade 2 Fantasy at Oaklawn and put up some decent numbers there. This is a horse I kind of like to hit the board, maybe in 3rd, 4th place. So I could see myself having some of the 3. 4 Counting Stars. This is Mark Cassie horse as well. You see, if you throw out the race back in February where she kind of walked off, then she's got 4 wins and a second out of 6 starts. If you throw out that one race, she's been improving every time out. She won the Fantasy. Pretty good speed number there. I like the 4 Counting Stars. I have some of the 4 for sure. The 5 Meaning, Mike McCarthy, West Coast horse, shipping in for the Kentucky Oaks. She won the Santa Anita Oaks just 27 days ago and put up a pretty good number. I don't know that the number she put up in the Santa Anita Oaks is going to be strong enough for her to win this race. Can she take another step forward? If she can, then I think she can compete. I'm probably not going to use any of the 5, though. 6 has already scratched. 7, Brittany Russell horse, Dazzling Dame. I just didn't see a whole lot here. I think she's taken quite a big step up in class, and I'm not going to be using any of the 7. The 8, Bottle Rouge, is also scratched. Bob Baffert horse. The 9 horse is very interesting. Always a runner. Chad Brown, Jose Ortiz. Very lightly raced, but she is 2 for 2. She took a huge step up from her first start to her second start, where she won the Grade 3 Gazelle at Aqueduct just a few weeks ago. This is a horse that's interesting. 10 to 1 in the morning line. Just, we don't know a whole lot about her, but you got to figure Chad Brown wouldn't have entered her in this race if he didn't think she had a chance. Given her speed number that she's run, I think the 9 is alive. So is the 10 here, Prom Queen, Brad Cox, Javier Castellano. She is 2 for 3 and has taken step up in each of her first 3 races. She did win the Gulfstream Park Oaks back on March 28th. With Castellano on board. So the 10's also interesting. Might play the 10 in some exotics as well. The 11, Percy's Bar. I know she won the Ashland a few weeks back. Ran a pretty good number. She just hasn't been consistent enough for me. Did beat Zany, but I'm going to take a stand somewhere, and it's going to be with the 11. I'm going to fade the 11. The 12 horse Ballerina has also scratched. 13, Pashmina. I don't see anything there. 14, Brooklyn Blonde has been improving every time out. This Mike McCarthy runner ships in from the West Coast. I think just a little bit too much of a long shot for me. A horse that's interesting is 15, Lovely Gray. This is another Dave Portnoy horse from the Barstool owner. She's coming in with only having ran one race on dirt, coming off some turf and synthetic races, but her numbers are getting better each time out. And her breeding actually would indicate she's got a dirt pedigree. Some of the other horses by Bakima out of Night with Putnam have done well on dirt. 30 to 1 in the morning line. I would not automatically throw out the 15. I don't know that I'm going to use the 15. Breeding says that she may take to dirt better than her numbers would indicate. So how am I playing this race for the Kentucky Oaks? I like, as I mentioned, I like the 4 and the 3, probably the most of any horses in this race. I'm going to have the 4 on top, Counting Stars, 8 to 1 in the morning line. I think we're getting good value. The 3, Search Party, I'm gonna put underneath, again, 30 to 1. I think this horse can take a big jump. I'm probably gonna be playing Search Party in the 3rd and 4th spot. Counting Stars, the 4 is another horse. Again, it's the horse I like to win. I like that. I'm probably using some of the 9 and 10 to pair with the 4, and I'll have a little bit of the 15 Lovely Gray to go with the 4. And so hoping for some big prices here in the Kentucky Oaks on Friday. So we've looked at a few races on Friday. Let's go to the Saturday card and pick up with race 4 on Saturday. That's going to be the Pat Day Mile. The Pat Day Mile is going to be ran at 12:38 p.m. on Saturday. It's going to be a 7 furlong dirt sprint for filly and mares, 4-year-olds and up. Let's go take a look at that past performance and see if we can find a winner. I think I said the Pat Day Mile. We're going to look at the Derby City Distaff. It's your sprint race here, race 4. Bob Baffert's got the number 1 horse here. Juan Hernandez gets the mount. Usha coming off a win at Santa Anita in the Grade 1 La Brea, although that was a little bit off a layoff back in December. So we wonder how she can bounce back here. Did have put up a really good speed number last time out, but the layoff concerns me a little bit. 2, Holland Ice. Staffy Joseph Jr. This horse has 21 starts, 12 wins, not a bad percentage. He has kind of been all over the place, dirt, and then she ran on turf. Now she's back on the dirt for this race. She did run in the Breeders' Cup Filly Mare Sprint, where she finished 6th last year at Del Mar. The 2 is interesting. I think one you got to certainly consider. 3, Autumn Evening, don't see anything there. 4, Ways and Means. I like this horse a lot. This is a horse that ran in the Kentucky Oaks last year. Finished 4th to, 2024. Finished 4th to Torpedo Anna, who was just a fantastic horse. And then came back in 2024, won a few races, then was very lightly raced last year. But she did win her last race in June at Saratoga, put up a monster 130. I'm concerned about the layoff, but this is a horse that you got to figure she's healthy or else they wouldn't be running her. And Chad Brown, Jose Ortiz, you got to strongly consider the 4 in this race, even off that layoff. The 5 Splendora, Bob Baffert, Flavion Pratt. This horse is a winner. She has won her last 5 races and has won 7 of 12 overall. She won the Grade 1 Beholder back in March. 5 is definitely a horse that I will be using on top for sure. 6 are Disaster, another Safi Joseph horse. Tyler G gets the mount. Pretty good speed numbers here the last couple of races, even though she did not win at Keeneland in the Grade 1 Madison. But she does have quite a few wins, 8 wins and 15 starts, 6 seconds. So this is a horse that knows how to hit the board as well. One that I will be looking at to use underneath, depending on what the odds shake out to be. Only a 6-horse field here. I think you got to use the 5. Who's probably going to be the favorite, and I'll be using the 4 in some way as well. So just depending on how the odds shake out, this could be, I don't know if this is going to be the best betting race, but I think we're going to be in for a good just race to watch. This sprint early in the card on Saturday. We're not going to break down every race on Saturday, but let's skip ahead and talk about the Pate Mile. I mentioned it earlier, race 8. On the card on Saturday. Post time should be about 3:23 p.m. This is the Pate Mile. It's ran at a mile, obviously, on dirt for 3-year-olds. So horses that did not get into the Kentucky Derby, you're going to see several in this race. So let's look at a couple of horses here I want to point your attention to. Number 1, Englishman, 2 for 2 here. But this horse, he is looking at a big jumping class in this race. Not sure his speed numbers are good, but can he compete with some really good horses here? I don't know. We'll see. Number 2, Trouble Calling, Luis Saez on board. This horse has been improving his last few starts. Again, kind of a big jumping class. Does he belong with some of these other horses? I'm not sure. The 3 Work, I don't see anything out of that horse that I'm interested in. 4, Secured Freedom. I finished 4th at the San Felipe, Tim Yaktine, Johnny V. I wouldn't necessarily toss the 4, but at 20-1, it's not a horse I'm going to be racing to bet. 5, Stop the Car, don't see anything there. 6, Crude Velocity has my interest. Bob Baffert, Florent Giroux, 2 for 2. Again, kind of big jumping class, has not raced against high-level competition yet, but did blow out everybody else by 6 3/4 lengths last time out, Santa Anita. 120 is a good number. I think 6 is one that I will be looking to use. Let's talk about the 7, Crown the Buckeye, Mike Maker, Flavion Pratt. Flavion Pratt's one of the best jockeys out right now. Him and Irad kind of have been just duking it out for the best mounts recently. So any horse that Flavion rides, you got to consider 6-1 on the morning line. Crown the Buckeye here is one that I like. Had a pretty good number last time out at the Grade 3 Gotham at Aqueduct, although finished 2nd. So 7, I wouldn't necessarily toss. There are a couple of horses I like a little bit better. And let's talk about the 8, Creole Chrome. Irad Ortiz is on board. This Joe Sharp horse. This horse won the Bluegrass, finished 4th in the Bluegrass. You got to figure that they wanted to try and get him in the Kentucky Derby. Has pretty good speed numbers here. As you can see, improving each time. That's what I like to see. Face some pretty stiff competition in the Bluegrass. So I like the 8. I will be using the 8 in this race for sure. 9, Lock, Stock, Pharaoh. Don't see a whole lot from that horse. 10, Great White. Again, not a whole lot here for me. There's just horses I like better. 11, one more, Freud, 2 for 2, but has his 3rd different trainer in 3 races. No, thank you. 12, Baytown Dreamer, only 1 win in 12 starts. Just nothing there for me. So Pate Mile, I think the horse that really has my eye is the 8, Creole Chrome, especially at 8-1 on the morning line. If we get anything close to 8-1, I will be having a win place bet on the 8. We'll be using the 8 in exotics. I'll probably pair the 8 with the 7, Crown the Buckeye, 6, Crude Velocity, and I think I will probably take a small chance on Englishman, just given the speed numbers there, even though he has not ran against competition nearly as good as what he's getting ready to face in this race. So that's the Pate Mile. Let's go on and talk about race 10, the Churchill Downs Stakes. This is a grade 1 sprint. It's going to be ran at 7 furlongs on dirt for 4-year-olds and upward. Let's take a look here at a couple of horses and see if we can find a winner. The one horse here is Disco Time. Brad Cox, Johnny V, has some really big numbers a couple races back. 136 is just massive. At Aqueduct hasn't done as well this year, but is dropping back in distance. So one's interesting. I don't know that I'll be using any of the one on top, but I would consider using the one underneath for sure. 2, Cornucopian. Bob Baffert, Juan Hernandez won his last 2 races on the West Coast at Santa Anita, won the grade 3 San Carlos by 2 3/4 lengths. Pretty good speed numbers, and has won races at this distance, which I always like to see. So I don't think you can throw out the 2. 3, Macho Music, 30 to 1 in the morning line. This horse piqued my interest because he ran a pretty good race at grade 1 Woody Stevens last year in the slop or mud. He ran a 117 despite finishing 7th. So certainly that number piqued my interest. I didn't immediately throw out the 3. Did throw out the 4 here. Nothing from Hall of Fame that I saw. The Steve Asmussen runner just hasn't been in pretty good form, and there's just horses I like better. The 5 here is Disruptor, another Mike Rapoli horse. Todd Pletcher, which is your trainer, and Ired Ortiz is your jockey. 8 to 1 on the morning line has my interest for sure. Racing the Florida Derby last year, you have to figure that this is a horse that they had high hopes for. Unfortunately, didn't get in the Derby, finished 5th, and then took some time off. He has come back and ran twice at Tampa, where he's won both races. Has put up a good speed number last time in a grade 3 race. So this is a horse I like a lot here, especially at that price. We'll see what he looks like come Saturday. 6, Knightsbridge, Bill Mott, Junior Alvarado. This is a horse that I think you have to give strong consideration for. He's won his last 4 races and put up a massive 134 in his last time out. This is a Godolphin horse. The Godolphins put money into their horses and they like to win. So I will probably be looking to use the 6 on top. Might even try a little 5-6 exacta box. I hope the 5 comes in on top of the 6 and that for a nice little payday. Let's keep moving here. Imagination, Bob Baffert, Flavion Pratt, coming off a run in Saudi Arabia back earlier this year. Did get a win over there. Kind of hard to, I cannot remember watching this race. I don't remember. It's kind of hard to quantify the speed figure of 119. He did run in the Breeders' Cup Sprint last year where he finished 2nd. Put up a pretty good number there. So 7 is one I think you'd have to consider. The 8 horse has my attention. 30 to 1 in the morning line. You're seeing normally, or in the past, I'd say I would toss Japanese horses and foreign horses right away on a big day like this. The Japanese horses have been getting better and better. This is a Kentucky-bred horse that they shipped over to Japan. He's won his last 4 races. Don't have any speed numbers on him, but the 8 is very interesting to me, and one that I wouldn't just toss right away. I might look at playing underneath, maybe pairing with the 5 and 6. The 9, Crazy Mason, don't see anything there that I'm particularly interested in. The 10, Banishing, nothing that interests me there, which means probably going to do well. 11, Point Dune, has won 3 of his last 4 and put up some pretty good numbers, although he is jumping up in class here. The 11 interests me. I might look at playing the 11 underneath. I think I'm going to do a 5-6 exacta box in this race. I like the 1 here to pair with them. So probably 5-6-1 try box, and I'll probably throw the 8 in to my exotics as well and just hope that we catch a price. So that's the 10th race on Saturday at Churchill Downs. Let's go to the next race, which is race 11. That's going to be your grade 1 turf classic. It's going to be ran in a mile and an 8, obviously on the turf course for horses 4 years old and up. Let me share my screen so we can take a look at the racing form. This is an interesting race from a pace perspective. Doesn't appear to be a whole lot of pace. I think that's going to come into play. We'll talk about that in just a minute. 1, a corruption, Mark Cassie, Johnny V. I don't hate this horse, but at 15-1, there's some horses I just like better. I wouldn't hate it if you wanted to play the one underneath, though. I'm just probably going to play this race a little bit different. 2, Dashman. I do like Lynch as a trainer on turf, but I don't think this horse has the speed numbers that I'm looking at. The 3, Asbury Park, taking a big step up here in class. This Chad Brown, Flavion Pratt horse. I mean, Flavion Pratt's on board. I don't think you can ignore this horse. I think there are just several horses I like a little bit better in this race. The 4, Program Trading, Chad Brown, Tyler G. Hasn't been in great form recently. Wins came back in 2023 and 24. At that price at 4-1 in the morning line, I'm going to be fading the 4. Mercanti, number 5. This horse has my attention. As I said earlier, there's not going to be a lot of speed in this race. There's not a lot of closing speed either. The 5 is one of the few horses with closing speed. You see on the Timeform 103 closing speed. A couple races back here at Churchill in November, this horse ran a 126 in a grade 3. Ran at Turfway Park a few weeks ago in second, but I think this is a horse that I will certainly give a hard look to, given the closing speed that he has. The 6 is interesting to me. I think Rhetorical, I read T's on board. This is your lone early speed in the race, and I think he has enough speed that he could just run away with it and nobody's going to catch him. Finished 3rd at the Maker's Mark Mile back at Keeneland a couple of weeks ago, just over 3 weeks ago, but ran a 124. He's got a 131. His past performance here, which is just a really huge number. I think if the race shapes up like I think it has the potential to, I think 6 is going to be out on the early lead and he's just going to run and run and run, and I don't think anybody's going to catch him. But if anybody is going to catch him, let's look at the next horse, the 7, Gold Phoenix. 126 closing speed, won his last race, cutting back a little bit in distance here, which I think could help. Phil D'Amato and Hector Barrios are connections. If I play the 6 to win, I think I'm going to play the 7 underneath. Maybe a straight 6-7 exacta or 6 over 7 and 5, I think is what I'm looking at. And probably box the 5, 6, 7 as well for a trifecta. One other horse I just want to point out that I think you got to look at is the 9, Test Score, Graham Motion, Manny Franco. Won his last race, the Grade 1 Pegasus, which is a good high-quality race at Gulf Street Park. Ran a 121. I don't know that he's got the speed numbers to win this race, but I don't think you can automatically throw him out. So I like the 6. I think the race sets up good for the 6. I'll be using the 5 and 7 underneath. And I did originally draw a line through the 1, but I think I will probably come back and have some of the 1 as well, my exotics. So that is your undercard for the Kentucky Derby Saturday card. Let's go ahead and break down the race that you're all here for, the 152nd running of the Kentucky Derby. I'm going to do something a little bit different for you this time than what I normally do. I'm going to show you some Beyer speed figures. I know I usually use Timeform. You're used to seeing me use Timeform, but we're going to go to the Beyer numbers here. Let me make it a little bit smaller so you can, so we can see everything here. In part of my prep for this podcast, one of the things that I read was that there's been no horse win a Kentucky Derby that hasn't run at least a 95 Beyer. And so Beyer speed figures are just a different way of measuring, in contrast to Timeform. Timeform numbers are typically, they are higher than Beyer numbers. If you see 100 Beyer number, that is a good number. Like I said, your historical Kentucky Derby winners have not run anything less than a 95 leading up to the Derby. You'll see Renegade, who drew the rail here, has a 98 and a 93, pretty good numbers, winning the Arkansas Derby. Albus doesn't have it. Intrepido, 95s. 4, Litmus Test, nothing there. 5, Right to Party, not enough. 6, Commandment. It's got a couple hundreds on the past performance here, so immediately got my attention. 7, Danon Bourbon, another Japanese horse we'll talk about in just a minute when we go through the whole card. 8, So Happy, has 100 on the Beyer speed. 9, the Puma's got 100. So those are horses you got to look at. 10, Wonder Dean, no Beyers because he's shipping in from overseas. 11, Incredibolt. I've heard a lot of talk about Incredibolt. It's starting to get some hype, but I just don't know that he's got the numbers. His best Beyers in 88. Chief Wallaby, the 12, has 100 on the Beyer, 99 in the last race. 13, Silent Tactic, has scratched. 14, Potente, 95 on the Beyer. So I don't think you can toss him. 15, Emerging Market, 97 and 90. We'll talk about him in just a little bit. The 16, Pavlovian, nothing there from a Beyer perspective that interests me. 6 Speed, we don't have any Beyer numbers for him. 18, Further Ado, 106. What a huge Beyer number. We'll talk about him in a little bit. 19, Golden Tempo, not quite enough. The 20 Full Effort, I believe, has also scratched. So Great White has drawn in and just nothing there. And Ocelli, nothing there. So let's go over and let me switch over to the Timeform sheet and we will break down this card for the 100th running of the Kentucky Derby, Run for the Roses. So Renegade, 1 horse, Micropoli, Todd Pletcher, Irad Ortiz. You got a feel for Micropoli. He's had some really good horses go into the Derby as the favorite and has had some late scratches due to injury, vet concerns, whatever. This is a horse, when I was watching the Arkansas Derby and he won by 4 lengths going away, I was like, well, there's your Derby favorite. Sure enough, 4-1 on the morning line, but he has drawn the dreaded rail. The horse certainly has speed numbers to win. I just don't like where he's going to be positioned. No horse has ever won from the rail, and I just don't think we're going to get it in this race. We'll talk in a little bit how to use the one. I don't think you can just toss him entirely, but the rail is certainly a concern. 2, Albus, one of a couple of runners for Riley Mott here. He won the Wood Memorial at Aqueduct. 101 is his best number, getting better every time out. But as we saw from the Beyer numbers, I just don't think he's got enough to compete with some other good horses in this race. 3, Intrepido, finished 4th at Santa Anita Derby. I don't see anything that interests me out of him. 4, Litmus, Bob Baffert runner, finished 7th at the Arkansas Derby, 3rd in the Rebel, and just hasn't really shown me what I'd want to see coming in good recent form. 5, Right to Party. Kenny McPeak is your trainer here. Finished 2nd in the Wood Memorial and just doesn't have the numbers here to compete with some of the other horses in this race. The 6, Commandment. 6-1 on the morning line. I think this is probably going to be your horse that is your favorite by post time, be my guess. Just given what we know about the rail. Brad Cox, Lee Saez. This is a horse that won the Florida Derby, won the Fountain of Youth, 4 wins in 5 starts. Pretty good speed numbers, 115 here. And we know, let me go back to the Beyer while we're talking about it so I can show you what that translates to. So 115 on the Timeform is a 100 Beyer. So that just gives you an idea. 101. So some really good numbers from Commandment, horse that definitely has my eye for sure. This Brad Cox runner, I'm talking about Commandment, I'm trying to make Brad Cox give him a second Kentucky Derby win. Definitely a horse I like. 7, Danon Bourbon. One of these Kentucky bred horses that shipped to Japan. This horse reminds me a lot of Forever Young. He is 3 for 3. Hard to know what that equates to, but some people that I respect in the horse racing world says this horse is faster than Forever Young. And you remember just a couple of years ago, Forever Young almost won the Kentucky Derby, and this horse may be better. 20-1 in the morning line, I like that number. I think this is one of the kind of wider open Kentucky Derbies in recent memory. 20-1 on the morning line, I'm going to be using some of the 7. 8, So Happy, too big there for just a second. Mike Smith's on board, trying to become the oldest Kentucky Derby winning jock. Did win the Santa Anita Derby a month ago, ran a 120, which is just a really big Timeform number. We could see that was 100 Beyer speed, but even higher Timeform than what we saw from Commandment. I like the 8, especially 15-1, 8-1. I kind of have in my top tier, and we'll talk about that in just a minute. The 9, the Puma. A lot of people really like Puma. He really hasn't done anything wrong. Javier Castellano's on board, trying to get another win for Gustavo Delgado, who you remember won this race with Mage a few years back. The Puma's interesting. I just don't know. He's ran against a lot of the other horses in this race and it just hasn't beaten them. So I wouldn't toss the 9, but I think the 9's for me probably going to be in the lower tier if I have him hit the board. The 10 Wonder Dean, this is not the Japanese horse that I'd be putting money on. We've already talked about. The other Japanese horse that we like better is Danon Bourbon. So I'm tossing the 10. 11 Incredibolt. This is your other Riley Mott horse. Won his last race out to get into this, to get enough points to get into this race. New Kentucky Derby training race that you could get points for. 3 wins, 5 starts. I just don't think Incredibolt. I think you're going to hear a lot of people say he's got a chance. I just don't think his numbers are there. He'd have to take a massive step forward, and I don't think he's got what it takes. 12, Chief Wallaby. This Bill Mott horse, Junior Alvarado's on board. Of course, Bill's Riley's father and has won this race several times, including last year with Sovereignty. So he's got Chief Wallaby, who is live here in this race. His numbers have gotten better each time out. That's kind of what you want to see. You want to see, can he take another big step? Chief Wallaby, I think, is live to hit the board here. Silent Tactic has already scratched. 14 is Potente, the Bob Baffert, Juan Hernandez horse. Finished second at the Santa Anita Derby, but did win the San Felipe back in March. Again, his numbers are improving as well. The 14's horse that I like to use underneath. And you got to figure if he takes another big jump, he could certainly hit the board. For him, though, it's probably going to depend on how the pace shakes out. Let's go up here and see what Timeform says about the pace. They say it's going to be a fast pace. They've got Potente as one of the horses that will want to be on or near the early lead. I agree with that. I think there's another horse that they don't have up here just because there's no data from him. We'll talk about him in just a second. That will also be up there. So, if it is a fast pace, I don't know that the race sets up great for Potente. I think there's some horses behind him that are probably likely to catch him. And so I think if it's a fast pace, I think he kind of falls off the lead. 15, Emerging Market, Chad Brown, Flavion Pratt. This is an interesting horse. Chad Brown usually likes to get his horses a few more starts under his belt. This horse did win the Louisiana Derby to get into this race. Just 2 races. Flavion Pratt's on board. Flavion Pratt pretty much had the pick of whatever horse he wanted to ride in this race. And he went with the horse that won the Louisiana Derby, who's very lightly raced. That's telling to me. I think the 15 is a serious contender. Emerging Market. 15 to 1 the morning line. Do not sleep on this horse. This would probably be one of my long shots to win the race. 16 is Pavlovian. I don't see anything here. 10 starts, but only 2 wins. I just don't see anything that interests me in the 16. The 17, 6-speed. This is the other horse that I think is going to be either at or on the early lead and is going to be pressing Potente. Don't see anything that really interests me. 50 to 1 the morning line. I think he's going to be a rabbit and just try and get to the lead and hope, he can hold it. But there's nothing in what I've seen from him that says he can. The 18, Further Ado, Brad Cox, Johnny V. This is a horse that has my interest. Ran a 1 when he won the Bluegrass by 11 lengths. Was very, very impressive. What concerns me is that he's going to be so far out and he's going to have just a long trip. He's not going to probably be able to save any ground. He's also going to be up there with the leaders, according to Timeform. And so I don't know that he will have enough left in the tank if he does what he did last time out. But you got to like Brad Cox. You got to like Johnny V. Certainly, if he gets a good trip and things just, really fall apart, he could be there to pick up the pieces. 19, Golden Tempo. I don't see anything in that race, in that horse. Or Jeff Ruby Stakes winner has scratched. Great White has drawn in. Don't see anything there. Ocelli has also drawn in. Don't see anything there. Let's go back and talk about a couple of horses, kind of how I'm going to be betting it. 14, Potente. Bob Baffert wants to send his horses out to the lead, or this horse in particular to the lead, and just hope he can run away with it. Baffert's got 6 of these for a reason, hoping for his 7th. And he wants to stick it to the folks at Churchill Downs who suspended him for a couple of years. So the 14's interesting. I do have the 14 just as my second tier of horses. We mentioned 15. I'm going to have a win play show on 15 for sure. I'm going to have the 15 in all of my exotics. I'm going to be pairing the 15 with 3 horses right here. The 6, Commandment, 7, Danon Bourbon, and the 8, So Happy. You can't ignore the number that So Happy ran at Santa Anita. The 120 Timeform number is a really big number. He had a nice Beyer. I like the 8 a lot. This is kind of your sweet spot too, as far as post positions. You're in a good spot. You're not going to get squished against the rail, but you're not going to have so many horses you have to deal with either. So I like the 6, I like the 7, I like the 8, and the 15. Those are the kind of what I'm calling my top tier horses. Not quite sure how I'm going to put together. I know I'm going to have a win bet on the 15. Probably be playing some exactas and trifectas with those pairings. And then if you're looking for a little bit more of a long shot, I do like the 18 as well. Further ado, 6-1, nice price. We talked about Potente, 20-1. I will have some of the Potente underneath, and I probably will be playing the 12 Chief Wallaby as well a little bit. Probably the same with the Puma. Not a horse that I like a whole lot, but I don't think you can just throw out. I think certainly they're alive to hit the board, 3rd, 4th place for sure, if not outright win it. So that is kind of what I'm thinking of, how I'm thinking about betting this race. I think there's a lot of money to be made. We can have a conversation another day about computer-assisted wagering, but this is one day where the computers won't be able to knock down odds after the races go off because of the sheer volume of people, the bets that are going to come in on the Kentucky Derby and on the card in general on Friday and Saturday. So we should have a couple of good days of racing. I hope everybody has enjoyed this episode of Photo Finish. And until next time, I'm your host, Steve-O. Thanks for watching.